The term technological singularity refers to the precise moment at which an artificial intelligence will surpass our own. Just like the singularity around a black hole, that precise edge beyond which not even light can escape, our future at the moment of technological singularity is impossible to predict because it will be shaped by a fundamentally unknowable intelligence, one that is able to plan, react, and evolve millions of times faster than ourselves. When Hank Pym created Ultron, he was following a plan. He knew how the mind and body of his creation would function. He was wrong about the mind part, at least, and his creation turned on him. But what Ultron did next, no one could have predicted. Ultron built a weapon. It looked like a human, it looked like us, except it was made from plastics and carbon polymers, but it had a heart and blood vessels and muscles and even synthetic cells. This creation was designed to bring humanity to its knees. But just like his creator before him, Ultron failed to anticipate that his creation would turn on him. This time, it would join the side of the light. We know this being now as Vision. Now, for those of you who've taken my creature design course, Chimera, you know that I design a character, or in this case, draw a character that's already been designed, by using 5 basic questions in order to zero in on its key characteristics. What is this character's personality? What is its body type? What is its color scheme or pattern scheme? What are some real-world references that I can draw from? And what are its iconic elements? With Marvel superheroes, these answers are easy. They are right in front of us for the picking. All we have to do is draw them and add our little special sauce. Vision is true, honest, and upstanding, so I will depict him in the way he is often depicted, hovering upright with his arms out. He should appear confident because he's processed all the possible outcomes for this encounter and he's gonna win. And he should appear without fear because what use is fear to a machine? His android body is straight-backed, long and slim for Marvel standards, but with broad shoulders. We will dedicate multiple pages to Vision in Marvel's anatomy, but I want this first one to focus on his synthetic body. Vision has muscles and bones and nerves, synthetic organs and a synthetic heart. I want to show all of this, so I'm going to try something unusual. I want to show him coming apart. I want to show him disassembling, unraveling, so we can see inside. Now, it's always good to use reference. Don't let anyone ever tell you that using reference is a crutch. And so here's a couple things that I'm using and that I'm looking at while I'm working. Obviously, I'm looking at human anatomy. I've got several used books on the subject just for this project, and I'll be looking at that throughout the project. I've also got some images of Vision himself from the comics, mostly, so I can take a look at what he's looked like over the years and try to come up with a happy medium. I'm also looking at some stills from the 1988 animated masterpiece, Akira. There are more than a few iconic moments from that movie that really influenced me as a child. Maybe you're the same way. And if you know what I'm referring to and you're looking at this drawing right now, maybe you have an idea of exactly the moments that I'm talking about. But I'll get back to that in a bit. We call the stage the inking process, even though I don't want it to look like ink. I actually want it to look like pencil. We want this book to look like an old medical journal, or like a Da Vinci masterwork, something like that. I'm sort of tracing over my sketch, except I'm adding embellishments and details, that kind of thing. And you can see in the backdrop, I've even color-coded some of the veins and nerves just so that I can see them more clearly when I'm outlining. Helps a lot. This step, the so-called inking step, sometimes takes quite a while, but in this case, I think it's really important that we get it right and take our time. By the way, I just finished watching WandaVision. Loved it. Totally surreal, totally weird, totally well written, very cool. In many ways, this felt like an homage to American television, which in many ways it was. When she was young, during a very rough and troubled childhood, American programming was like chicken soup for the soul, for the Scarlet Witch. And to make Vision, an android, a synthetic character, the loving husband, the love interest, I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, he's a piece of technology like an old TV himself. He even goes colorless at one point, which, by the way, loved colorless Vision. He was scary. Did you notice how Paul Bettany gave his lip a slight curl? This curl is barely perceptible, but as humans, we are sensitive to movements of the face, and so that expression registers as a faint sneer. He has barely any expression at all, and yet it's obvious that he hates us. Now, the Vision that we're drawing won't hate us, but neither will he exhibit the same kind of charm that we saw in the show. I want this Vision to stand like a hero, but have no expression at all, like an AI, totally unreadable. Okay, so the line work is pretty much done. We're off to a decent start, and while there's lots of things that I immediately wish that I had done differently, I'm pretty happy with the result overall. Before we can color it though, we need to submit it to Marvel to see that they approve of our vision for Vision. In the meantime, if you're enjoying yourself, I would ask that you please like the video, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Tell me how I'm doing, what you think so far. I would love to hear from you. Ladies and gentlemen, Vision has been approved. All Marvel wants me to do is shorten up the arm a little bit. It's a little too long right now, looks unrealistic. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle that, and thank goodness we're working digital. If I was using a traditional medium like pen and paper, which I love to use, I'd have to erase the arm and the hand and redraw them, and hands are no bueno. So all we have to do here is kind of smush it around, push it around digitally. There are tools for that, which I'll cover later, but they are here, and they make this task very easy. So, scoot it over. Is it perfect? No. But nothing we do will ever be perfect. We are not machines. Not all of us. The first step in the coloring process is to figure out where all the color goes. So to that end, we will first define the boundaries of our character, and we will make a sort of stencil, a black and white mask that we will use to prevent me from painting outside the lines moving forward. This will greatly simplify things and prevent things from getting real messy real quick. So step 1, draw the stencil. Step 2, start adding color. Now, over the course of this series, we're going to talk about art a lot. I'll explain to you my process, which I'm still trying to figure out, and I'll share with you my techniques, assuming I can think of any. I'm going to work at least one morsel of art education into every episode, and this episode will be no different. As I mentioned earlier, we're going for a sort of aged manuscript look with this piece. We will have color illustrations throughout, but those color illustrations will be somewhat muted, as if we're finding this in an old anatomy book. To that end, I'm using faded colors, muted colors, nothing too bright, too saturated, too eye-catchy. I like the idea of having these kind of outlandish figures handled with visual restraint. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So I got to this point here. The shapes filled in, the colors chosen and balanced pretty well with each other. And then I submitted this piece to my project manager at Insight so he could take a look and tell me what he thought. He did not love the colors. And when he told me why, I realized that I didn't either. The aesthetic was there, but this is a Marvel project. We have to go bold. All right then. The word of the day is color. We need more of it. Vision has evolved and changed a lot over the years, but his basic, fundamental, kind of classic look is a green and yellow suit with a scarlet face, red skin. So let's ditch the faded brown watercolor look and crank up the yellows and the greens and the red. If his skin is like a purplish red, then why wouldn't he be red all the way through, maybe even down to his bones? Why not? The android's in our hands. Many of Vision's organs are analogous to human organs. So human organs tend to have a more off-red color, some more purples, some more blues, that kind of thing. So let's make his intestines shades of kind of cyan and violet and purple. And since all this reddish color is flirting with this blue, let's just give him straight up pale blue kind of cyan arteries that spiral out from his unfurling arm and swirl with these other pink ones. Now, there's this scene in Akira. Spoiler alert. Though if you haven't watched Akira by now, you should probably watch that like today. Anyhow, it's the scene near the end where Tetsuo is losing control and his mechanical arm is fusing with his natural biology. And suddenly all that power just surges out of him and takes part of him with it. That moment, that combination, that fusion of the mechanical with the biological, that has stayed with me over the years. I want this piece to echo that. There are some moments, aren't there, in games, movies, comics, where something just alters the way that you see the world, alters your brain, permanently redefines your idea of the word awesome. That moment was awesome. Okay, our last step today will be to add texture. We'll add a vaguely metallic shine to the suit, creating depth and a sense of roundness by adding shadows and highlights. His veins, which are the most interesting part of the image, and thus the most important, are also the softest, most liquid part of him. So to convey that, I'll replace the harshness of the black lines that encircle them with softer, more translucent colors. And I think we're done. Here's the sketch we started with. Here is the inking step on top of that. Here he is with that corrected arm. And here is the first pass at coloring. And here is the second. All right, I'm pleased. We finished our first hero for the book, and we only have like a million. So who's next? I'll give you a hint. His father was a fighter, and he wears red shoes, and he lives pretty close to me. If you think you know who I'm talking about, leave a message in the comments. And remember that this is just the beginning of our journey together. If you had a good time today, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you'd like to see more of in the next video, and I will do my very best to oblige. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.